On the night, the Greenwood Village discussed a plan to implement body cameras for its officers, a requirement now included in the state's new police accountability law. A march outside city headquarters.
Big-name musicians are leading this protest, angry that the city is taking steps to skirt parts of that accountability law. The city says it's just defending its officers.
Denver 7's Addie Guajardo joins us live with more on this. Addie?
Well, Ann and Shannon, this demonstration is just wrapping up, but earlier today, hundreds marched in harmony for unity. Unity they say they want to see across the state when it comes to this policing accountability law, not a patchwork that makes people feel unsafe in their own community.
The melodies flowed,
but the congregation's gone.
But not a soul or an instrument was in sight at Fiddler's Green Amphitheater.
All of the days are working in the sun.
Instead, prominent bands with Colorado ties like Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats and the Lumineers voiced the musical message outside Greenwood Village City Hall during a city council study session.
A lot of us just want accountability.
Several bands pledged not to play at the amphitheater. They're protesting a resolution implemented by Greenwood Village to protect officers from lawsuit expenses related to the state's new police accountability law, which says officers are on the hook for up to $25,000 if found guilty of acting in bad faith.
We don't plan on playing there until they overturn the resolution.
Sometimes hitting people in their wallet makes them realize that you mean business.
We're here to just actually support voices in Greenwood Village that are saying, this doesn't represent us. We want to see true accountability in line with the rest of the state.
Many showed their support, including the mother of this 3-year-old who wants to ensure the safety of her child, and many more.
I've been disturbed by the lack of accountability that is placed on police officers for their actions.
One woman with a sign in hand showed her support for the city.
Good police deserve our support.
And the resolution.
They're supporting their police department when they're put in harm's way.
Sing a song.
Her voice was drowned out by many in attendance, supporting efforts to hold officers accountable for their actions.
If it's just a few bad apples, then you'll lose a couple of cops, right? Who don't want to play fair.
Now the anthem tonight, keep your eyes on the prize. Several lawmakers attended tonight's rally. Only time will tell if Greenwood Village changes their mind. Reporting live in Greenwood Village, Addie Guajardo, Denver 7.
Addie, thank you. State leaders say they can't let what Greenwood Village did stand. But city leaders say they are willing to take the heat to protect their officers.
Denver 7 investigates. Jennifer Kowaleski sat down with Greenwood Village city leaders for the first time. She has their take and the growing backlash in tonight's 360 report.
Black Lives Matter!
When it comes to perspective, what we see depends on where we look.
So we're here to show the city council what we think.
We made a choice on community safety.
At the center of this controversy is Colorado's new police accountability law and a resolution Greenwood Village city leaders passed to support its brothers and sisters in blue.
This resolution is illegal.
What it does tell them is that they're not alone.
The new law makes it easier to sue police and says officers who act in bad faith could owe up to $25,000 of their own money in civil settlements. Up until now, their city would pay the whole cost.
Making sure that we retain and we're able to recruit the officers that we want and we need.
To do that, Greenwood Village city leaders passed a resolution saying it would defend and protect police officers in any suit brought under the new law. It will also pay for or reimburse all court fees, attorney fees, judgments, fines, and amounts paid in settlement. A decision met with plenty of backlash.
And we want our cops to be held accountable.
In this 360, you'll hear from 5 people with opposing perspectives. City leaders say they were getting ready to lose 10% of its police force.
People had quit, senior person, and the 6 people were getting ready to quit.
Mayor Pro Tem Dave Kerber introduced the resolution. He says it was about showing officers they had their back, not shielding them from all accountability.
I can understand how people would say, oh, you're telling people that they can violate the law. No, we're not. We're just not. It's just not true.
Kerber says the city will still discipline and even fire officers for bad behavior And nothing in the resolution prevents them from facing criminal charges.
People talk about the police officers having skin in the game. This puts council with skin in the game.
What the resolution does say is the city will protect its officers from having to personally pay that up to $25,000 in settlement money if their employer finds they acted in bad faith. And that's where Representative Leslie Herod takes issue.
Passing meaningful policy reform.
She helped draft the legislation.
To say that they will stand by their officers even when they act in bad faith is not only bad policy, but it's dangerous. And I hope that they reverse their decision.
Well, Kerber says they have no plans to do so.
The council has come back informally and said, I wouldn't change it. We did the right thing.
Colorado's Attorney General said they are going against the spirit of the new law. Governor Jared Polis didn't approve of Greenwood Village going rogue either.
Well, the bipartisan police reform is the law of Colorado.
Herod says lawmakers are ready to take action next session if Greenwood Village doesn't.
And any loophole that anyone finds will be closed.
As for the city's argument, this is about keeping its officers from leaving.
Because they don't want to be held accountable, they should go. They should no longer be law enforcement officers in Colorado.
I personally have lost a SWAT team commander because he's worried about the liability.
La Plata County Sheriff Sean Smith says the liability factor is chasing good officers away.
Worried about what this means to them as an individual. Even when they're doing things right, we've seen that there can be a perception in the community that it's not right.
He doesn't support a blanket policy shielding officers in his community.
But we want to make sure that we do support good officers and that they feel like as long as they're doing their job the right way, that they are protected.
It's obviously appalling.
She's the attorney representing Elijah McClain, a young black man who died in Aurora police custody.
It is incredibly disheartening for families like the McClains.
Mari Newman says this part of the law is about holding officers accountable for the most heinous acts.
No matter how horrifying the crime is that they commit, Greenwood Village will pay their freight no matter what.
I think I understand why they made that decision. But secondly, I think it's a terrible decision.
Ian Farrell is an associate professor at the University of Denver. He's an expert on the limits of police power.
If they have confidence in their police officers, they don't need the resolution.
Farrell says Greenwood Village found a loophole.
The simplest fix for this would be to put the burden of proof on the police officer to show that they acted in good faith.
Back at City Hall, the perception of Greenwood Village's resolution is still evolving.
We are going to support our officers and our people and people of color.
But what city leaders think they did inside council chambers is very different than what protesters outside had to say.
This has proved how unnecessarily racist the Greenwood Village City Council is.
That's the American way, that we argue, that we discuss.
I'm Denver 7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski.
And we are always looking for more perspectives. So send us an email, 360@thedenverchannel.com, or leave us a comment on this story on the Denver 7 Facebook page.